Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and I use the amazing Lenormand deck. So welcome to your April forecast. As usual, we'll be pulling up your Astro Clock cards and then drawing portrait cards with a different deck. So let's go ahead and start with you, Aries. I've got your April cards from your 2025 Astro Clock, and these are some really nice cards, mainly thanks to the flowers and because the house and garden are on the neutral side. So we have an overall really positive energy. Now, the house and garden usually suggests meetings, getting together with others, and socializing. It could be something private or it could be something a bit more public. It's flexible in that sense because we have both cards, but the flowers is really a happy card. It's also a card of celebration, especially when it comes to people and those sorts of activities that we see with the house and garden. So it could be a great month for that. These are also cards of success in terms of the flowers bringing this positive energy, and the house and garden can tell us sort of what context. Of course, this is not enough cards to identify it, but maybe you can resonate, you can come up with something, and also we'll draw our portrait cards in order to see what else we get about these. But these are lovely cards for enjoying good times with others, celebrating something, and also generally Aries doing well in a specific environment. So let's put these aside and let's draw your portrait and see what else we get about them and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Aries, here is your portrait. And I have to say, these are some really interesting cards because of the challenging cards versus the really bright cards. So in the center, we have the beautiful star, which is a card of healing and all-around success. And actually, this is something that the flowers and star have in common, apart from this generally positive energy. And that I think is unique to them is that there is an element of forgiveness and healing. And we have the scythe and whip and the dog and the scythe and the heart. So this points to a heartbreak or a challenge with someone. And so the cards tell us that here there's an opportunity to make up with someone and to forgive and to move on. So this is a really bright message. Now, the tree with the star and cross is very much about allowing things to unfold, and maybe time heals. And with the cross, it might be best to not force anything and to let it go. So in a way, the cross is that element of some things are out of your hands, and with the tree and star, it's out of your hands. So you're better off just letting it go and allowing things to take their time and unfold. The scythe and whip on either side of the star is a challenging message, but the star is also a powerfully positive card. So it is in a position to help heal and overcome the issues. And like I said, because of these two pairs, very clear, it's more of a feeling thing, it's a people thing, and so it's likely that it has to do with someone or some people. Now, the tree, clover, and whip is also a more positive line. Even though we have the whip on the right hand side, I still think because of the overall message of the portrait and the overall message of the Astro Clock cards, I think the balance tips in favor of a more positive reading. So the tree and clover helps you deal with the challenges that we see with the whip. Also, what's really nice about the clover is that it has an unpredictable side. And so it can be a blessing in disguise, and it can also suggest that things might not be as difficult or as dramatic as you might anticipate. So the tree is also very helpful with this because it's a card of peace and wisdom, and it's kind of centered, and it's also your first card. Now, the heart, star, and dog is lovely for a wonderful relationship here. And it's nice that it T-crosses this challenging line because these positive cards help overcome the challenges here, or at least put you in a position to deal with them so that there's a more positive outcome. So wish fulfillment, happy things materializing, a really good connection. The scythe with the ship and cross, this can point to a change of direction. You could be contemplating how to move forward and what to do about all this. And I do think there are going to be changes and adjustments moving forward, but I don't think it's lost. I don't think it's all gone and things like that. And it can also point to an exciting new direction that could be opening up for you, especially since the cross also aligns with the star and tree, and not just the challenging line that we see here. Now, the tree with the heart and scythe is clear. It points to a heartbreak or an emotional pain because we have the heart and scythe. But again, the tree is really helpful here, Aries, because it puts you in a position of being centered, of being, able to have wisdom. And I think this is very much part of what's going to help you see through this. We also have a hint that this is on, because this is on the left, it could have been something that happened previously, or it could happen earlier on in the month. And also this makes sense because the astro clock cards are so bright and they bring that healing and that gathering. But we also have the challenging cards on the right. So I'm not sure how much this is a past, present, future setup. It might be more fluid than this. The clover with the star and ship is a beautiful column. It's all around wish fulfillment, also a desired direction manifests, and it T crosses the bottom line. So again, these changes could be quite positive. And also there's progress in the relationship. And the whip, dog, and cross is a bit challenging as well. We do have with an element of argument or disagreement with someone. And with the cross, it can mean that it's not entirely resolved, but it's not lost. And you might have to maybe put up with it or see how you can deal with it. So again, I do think this is a challenging line, but because of these strong positive cards and this lovely triplet here, I think it's more likely that you're in a better position to deal with it and it's not lost. And also remember, the flowers and star, what they have in common, apart from their very positive energy, is that element, and more specific element, of forgiveness and healing. So I think things can work out. Now, Aries, the cards seem to be personal, and they affect a personal relationship, a friendship, or someone close to you. But it might also apply in a different context. I'm thinking maybe work. Maybe there were issues in a work context with colleagues. And, with colleagues, things can always remain a little bit tricky to deal with moving forward. So this can explain the line on the right. But still, the star clover, star tree, clover heart, all of these lovely cards here, I think they help overcome the challenge. And the same dynamic can apply in another context with whatever relationships in your life. So I think based on the cards, it seems to be more personal, but it can apply with other relationships in other parts of your life. I also want to add, Aries, that because of these, these astro clock cards, remember the house and garden. These are celebration in a certain connection with others, being with people. So if there's an opportunity to meet and to fix things or try to move forward in some way or another, I would say take it up, Aries. And I'm not saying that everything is going to be like back to normal as though nothing happened. No, that's not what I'm saying, and it's not what the cards are saying. But I do think there's definitely an opportunity to make big steps forward and improve things. And it sounds like it's going to be better for your peace of mind anyway. So I would say see if you can size these issues down and have a bigger, broader perspective and move past them as much as possible. And in tandem, there can also be some positive things materializing for you. Now, there is one more suggestion that I think can come to mind. And that is that a difficult person could leave the picture, because with the scythe, ship, and cross, and the whip, dog, and cross, especially in this side of the portrait, and these in contrast with these very beautiful cards that are closest to your personal card, I have to wonder, Aries, if maybe now you are relieved from a person who seems to have been a challenge or someone difficult, and it's like you have now space to breathe, and it's like a relief, and maybe you're celebrating that this person is off your back. This is also a possible interpretation of the cards. So you let me know what you make of this, Aries. Quite a beautiful reading with all of these positive cards, but also some interesting dynamics. So I look forward to your thoughts about this and what your experience was. Thank you as always for tuning in. Very best of luck with the month. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Taurus, let's get into your April forecast. We've got some cards here that are pretty focused on work, money, and business because we have the fish in the middle. And on top of that, we have the lily, which is a card of life path, the long term, and career. And also the bird, which can be a card of being busy. And it's a card of conversation and talking and negotiations. And with the fish, it can be about transactions or business negotiations and things like that. So it sounds like it could be pretty busy, but I think also, even though the cards are somewhat neutral, I feel they tend a little bit to the more positive because it sounds like the lily being a card of senior people, more experienced people, the long-term picture, the life path, and milestones. This could be an important thing happening for you on the financial front that can affect your overall direction and your overall security. So that's the main way I would read these cards. Of course, they can go in other directions, but on their own, I think they're mostly focused on work and money and business. But let's draw your portrait cards and see what else we get about them and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Taurus, here is your portrait. And there's quite a few beautiful cards and combinations. Obviously, the sun right in the middle. This is a very bright card, and it shines its light throughout the whole portrait, especially from the central position. On top of that, we have the clover and the anchor, and with the tree, it's also bright. The ship is also pretty exciting. We have the lily in common to both, so this can be a focus on your work, your career, or your life direction in general. And I have to say, because of the scythe and sun ship in this first diagonal, this can be a change of direction, or you could be setting sail in something exciting. The sun definitely suggests that it's a lovely path ahead. Now, it can be about travel. We have the road and the anchor. These tend to be associated with leaving, landing, arriving, and things like that. And so you could be, going someplace exciting. In this sense, the fish and lily might require some expense on this. And I have to say the bird can sometimes be about trips, although the shorter kind. I think more generally this is about an opportunity, a breakthrough of sorts that opens up an exciting path for you. The road, sun, and tree is also lovely. Very beautiful energies here. An open path. It sounds like you have more elbow room to grow and do things that you want to do. And the tree can be a bit of a slower card. So it's in contrast to the scythe because the scythe has a swift kind of momentum. But I think once you move forward, you sort of pace yourself. And I think you savor really this journey and this opportunity. So very beautiful cards. I also want to add, Taurus, if this isn't materializing just yet, I think the sun really asks you to trust the process, and in time it will come through. The scythe and clover is very much a lucky break, and the tree is an opportunity for growth and expansion. Certainly works with the ship and road. So another similar to what we saw in the first diagonal. The lily, sun, and anchor. This is lovely. This is a beautiful combination for security. I do want to suggest, though, that it comes a bit in contrast to what we're seeing with the scythe. So it's a bit like what we're seeing in the second diagonal, where you have change cards and you have staying cards. You have change cards and staying cards. Staying and change. So I don't think it's a contradiction. I think it's more about changes that you're going to settle into for a while longer, because it's probably more aligned with what you want to do. And the lily is a card of career as well, not just life path. So with the sun and anchor, you could land on a really good situation, and probably one that has a good prosperity element, thanks to what we see in your Astro Clock cards. So the lily really ties these two lines together, potentially. The road with the dog and ship, this is a bit of a different element because it brings a person. So there can be a person element with the bird because, like we said, it is a card of communication. So maybe here there's an opportunity to meet with someone, get together with someone, or someone who helps you with an opportunity. It could, if it's financial, it tends to be someone like a customer or, you know, a colleague you pair up with for a project, partners, all sorts of collaborations are possible here. And they certainly seem to be very beneficial to you. And it sounds like this is a lovely person. I mean, we have the clover, sun, and dog in the middle column, which T crosses the bottom row. And these are two very bright cards all around wish fulfillment. So I'm not seeing any concerns with this person. Now the scythe with the lily and road can be a change of direction, just like we saw in a few other lines. And this is a more or less neutral line, but it can be deep, Taurus. The changes can be significant because of the lily. And we have it twice. The clover with the sun and dog, like we said, this is a lovely relationship. The tree, anchor, and ship, like I was saying, it sounds like you can make some changes that are going to put you on a better path. There are two of these, you know, sticky cards, if you like, the tree and anchor. They tend to stay put, and they're in contrast with the ship, road, and scythe. So that's quite a lot of cards to balance each other out. But again, I don't think this is a contradiction. I think you are now looking to broaden your path, broaden your horizon. Being open to this might be a bit challenging because the anchor can have a bit of a stubborn side, but we do have the beautiful sun, and I think once you have that energy to make the change, and also I would say the courage to just do it and try, at least try, I think you'll be off sailing in this lovely direction. So these are really nice cards, Taurus. They bring a sense of freedom and prosperity. The changes can be deep. They can affect your life as a whole, or your work and your money and your career. And also they bring in a little bit relationships, which are obviously very helpful. Now, I think this is mostly a work, money, career kind of reading, but in case this is about relationships, these cards are not, they're really not about relationships. But if they were, maybe there are some conversations about money that you're having with someone. There can be some, it can also be a physical thing with the fish, and that could be part of, what you're exploring. And even if it's just about personal relationships, the cards are still lovely. They can bring changes, or maybe this is physical movement like travel to get together, but certainly the relationship is solid and supportive, and very bright cards here. Again, I think, as a personal relationship reading, I think that's pushing the cards a little bit, but it's still a very positive reading, so take that from it. And I think it's more about your prosperity and a sense of opening and openness and opportunities for growth and expansions. So let me know how you like these ideas, Taurus. I look forward to your thoughts as always. Very best of luck with this lovely month, I think. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Gemini, let's get into your April forecast. We have your 3 cards from your Astro Clock. And they are lovely cards, mainly because of the sun. And the mountain and stork can be about travel, or it can be moving past obstacles. And I think there is a strong sense of freedom and well-being and relief. So some really nice cards here. And of course, they're kind of broad. They can apply in different contexts. But travel could be a thing. And so we're going to draw your portrait cards, see what else we get about these 3. And what else we get for your month. Okay, Gemini, here is your portrait. I have to say it has a bit of a different energy than the Astro Clock cards, but we do have the ship and flowers, which is very much like the stork and sun, and the mountain stork with the sun. We have the bird, which can also be a trip along with the ship. So we do have this element of travel, but in the same way, they can also suggest freedom. And a sense of, having that space to go off and do interesting things. Now, we do have a few challenging cards, mainly the mouse and snake. And the bird can sometimes have an anxious side when there are other cards to bring that out. At the same time, Gemini, the mouse is your cover card. So it has a bit of a different role. And it can advise you to be attentive to details and to be careful, and also to take care of things while they are small and manageable before they get out of hand. So let's read these lines. The mouse with the house and bird. I often take the house and bird to suggest an announcement, and with the mouse it can be a bit disappointing, but also you might want to be discreet about how you react to this, or maybe it's not for everyone to learn and you do learn about it, and so you want to be discreet about it. But also, Gemini, you could be having doubts about certain people or a certain environment, a certain space, and it could, cause you to rethink things. And I think you do, because when we see these liberating cards, it sounds like you're going to be able to make a move and move away. And I think it's going to be moving away from a certain person or, whoever she is in whatever context. The flowers with the house and snakes is really supportive of this idea. The flowers and house would have been a nice combination. It would have suggested a celebration or a happy space. And maybe there is like an activity or some kind of celebration or an event happening in this space, whatever it is for you, Gemini. But with the snake, it sounds like there are some not so great people in there. There can be a bit of a toxic energy. And also it's important that you stay away from gossip and, things like that. You might find something out. You might come across some knowledge or some information, and it sounds like it's probably about this person, because we have the snake and bird on either side of the woman, and these are not great cards to have around a person. So it sounds like there is this questionable character that you need to first become aware of, and second, move away from, but also be discreet and, don't share stuff with this person, and, just managing the relationship so you're safe, quote unquote. The mouse with the fish and snake, this could be about financial issues, because the fish is often the card of money. A bit more broadly speaking, it is also a card of work and business and, this area. And so with the mouse and snake, there can be some issues, there can be expenses, and you need to be careful about this, Gemini. I also want to suggest that you don't lend, don't borrow, and don't commit with your money, and also don't share, what you're up to with your finances or other areas in your practical life. So be careful about this. With the garden, house, and woman, it sounds like there's the meeting with this person, like we saw in the second diagonal, and this person is, this person, which we said is not trustworthy, or there are other sensitive things around this relationship. So these two are connected through the woman. So it sounds like it's in this space that you find out more about this person. The flowers with the ship and bird is actually exciting and fun. And like I said at the outset, it's the line that aligns mostly with the Astro Clock cards. And they are also about travel potentially and a sense of freedom. The bird at the end can be vocal, unlike the snake, which is silent. And it's possible that here you find a way to express yourself, and that this is part of what gives you that freedom or that liberty. So maybe at first you were hesitating about how to communicate or how to respond to the situation around you, but I think you find a way, and it gives you that element of liberty and freedom. It could also be saying no. It could also be saying something that gives you this sense of space and boundaries that you need around these people or this person. And it can also be some good news for you that gives you this freedom, probably freedom from getting away from this place, but also other opportunities are possible. The mouse with the garden and flowers I would have taken this to be a good combination. I would have suggested that you might have had doubts initially, but then you do get involved in this place. But again, Gemini, I think you do find out more about this place, or you get involved, but then you discover this person. Now, it's not to say that everything goes wrong or there's no benefit whatsoever from being involved in this space or, joining this activity. But I do think that there are some characters here that you need to be cautious of. I'm also suspicious of envy, because the snake is a card of envy. It is the one card that would suggest that best. And you know, there's quite a lot of success for you. We have the beautiful sun, we have the beautiful flowers, you're a careful person, and maybe this person is a bit envious, so just being aware of their intentions. The fish with the house and ship, which T crosses the bottom row, is a lovely combination for projects. It could also be real estate deals, I have to say, because the ship and fish can be about sales. And with the house, we could be looking at property. So if there is something like that that you're working through, you could get a good offer. But again, I have to warn you from certain people who might be trying to trick you. So, you know, you have to work with the right people. But aside from this more specific interpretation, the fish, house, and ship are really good cards for a sense of prosperity, for doing well. Maybe this is your business or your work or some other activities that bring in an element of opportunity and prosperity. And like I said, the snake and bird on either side of the woman, and it's, you know, it's not a great relationship, someone to be careful of. But also the fact that the line is on the right, which tends to be associated with later parts of the story. I think it's probably the idea that you move away from this person. And we see, you know, this liberty and this change and freedom in the Astro Clock cards. So it could be that you are now able to unwind from this relationship, and it's relieving for you, and you're free to pursue more interesting opportunities. I also think that the cards could be advising you, Gemini, against getting involved with a certain person or certain people in this situation, because it might not be advantageous to you. You might have struggled with the communication. You might have had a tough time trying to get your point across or to unwind yourself from this situation. But I think you end up doing this, and it could be really rewarding and freeing for you. So I would say overall, very nice cards. There is a bit of a tricky bit here to get through, Gemini, but I think you do so successfully, and that's what is captured by the Astro Clock cards. So do what you need to do. Mainly it's going to be a balance of discretion and being honest and communicative about the changes that you're up to. And also it could be a matter of timing, Gemini, where you're sort of waiting for the right time before you can express yourself and extract yourself out of this situation and go off and do something that's more prosperous for you. It seems to me that it was focused on your work because we have the fish and ship. But in terms of personal relationships, I think the same idea applies, where you could be dealing with someone who's maybe more materialistic, you know, and a bit of a user, if you like. And so it's a good time and a good idea to just create more distance and move off and do something different. So let me know what you make of these ideas, Gemini. I think they're lovely, even though they have, you know, a few sensitive elements. I'm curious to know how you resonated with these cards. So leave me a comment if you're willing to share. Thank you for tuning in. As always, very best of luck with the month. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Cancer, let's get into your April forecast. And I have these lovely cards for you from your Astro Clock. We have the Star and Clover, and these are two of the brightest cards of the deck. They bring luck, success, all sorts of good things. The Mouse is a bit challenging. It's not going to be challenging enough to overcome the beautiful Star and Clover, even on the right-hand side of the triplet. The Mouse is little annoyances, sometimes losses and waste. But certainly with the Star and Clover, you are very well equipped to prevent these losses. And also it sounds like you'll be able to catch them early. And the Clover very much helps you with, with being in a position to do that. So this could be a blessing in disguise, or just being in a really good space to prevent any issues from happening. So I really don't think that the Mouse has a lot of impact on the strength of the Star and Clover. And also the Star and Clover are very generally bright. So we'll see from your portrait what specifically this could be about and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Cancer, here is your portrait. We do have a few challenging cards and the Mouse as well. And we do not have the bright cards that we have in your Astro Clock cards, but we do have a protection element that comes through the Tree and Tower. And both of these cards have an element of wisdom, and the Tower is especially the card that could have that element of protection. So these are some really bright cards in this sense. We also have the flowers as your cover card, which tells us that you have an optimistic attitude and you are solution oriented. And I also think that you're in a good space. So I don't really see the negativity getting to you. And this very much aligns with what we're seeing in the Astro Clock cards. The flowers, tree, and tower is lovely for all sorts of growth and development. And I have to say that this could be some kind of improvement or an enhancement or something like a promotion, for example, in the context of work. And so it looks like you are on this path, and that could be maybe part of the challenges that you're gonna face. The fish with the tree and mouse is sort of similar. We have the fish and tree, which is great for growth and for improvements with your finances. It could be something like a raise or a bonus. I have to say the mouse in this sense can sort of affect this a bit negatively. It could mean that it doesn't grow as much as you want it to grow, but I do think it's still a good thing. Also, Cancer, you might want to slow down with spending and doing similar things. It might be a good idea to step back and to assess. And I'm getting a sense, because of the tower and the connection with the mouse, it might be best to prioritize the long-term picture. So take a step back to assess these things. Now, the flowers with the snake and mouse would be on the more challenging side. This typically points to a deception where something might have seemed nice, but it's not. And I think the good thing is that you're able to uncover this. And certainly that's the case that we said with the star clover in your Astro Clock cards. So here, I think this element shows through, and I think you're going to become aware of this, Cancer, and it might, set you back a little bit. But of course, clarity is the most important gift. The child with the tree and clouds, a similar idea here, where the seeds for growth and these first steps and moving forward towards that improvement faces some obstacles. And I'm really appreciating the message of the Astro Clock more and more as we go through this portrait, because what I think is happening here, Cancer, is that you're gonna come across problems and issues this month, and they might discourage you. But the Astro Clock cards are really clear. Don't be discouraged, take this in stride, and the tree is very helpful for keeping you centered in wisdom, so that you can see through the issues that are coming through. It's clear that they are temporary. The fish with the letter and tower is a great combination for an offer. There can be some agreements, some deals, and there can be some communication maybe with people at the top about your requirements, for a raise, or your ask for an improvement, and some other maybe appeals that you're making in order to get this improvement in your finances and related areas. And I think here with the mouse, clouds, and tower, I think this is where there can be some of the obstacles that are captured in the Astro Clock and the portrait as well, where maybe whoever is this entity or this person, it could be an organization, something at work, or some other official area, and they might not be quick to respond. It might take time to approve your ask. It can also be not as much as you were hoping for, as we saw with the mouse. So these can be some elements at play that could discourage you a little bit. But again, the Astro Clock cards are really clear. Now the flowers with the child and fish, they T-cross the middle row, and it's clear that there's an opportunity, and an opportunity for making more money, or for a new project, or these areas. But like we said, initially it looked good, but then it's not so good. It can also face some issues, and it seems to be in the hands of a certain entity here. It's still in the works. It's not like you're canceling this new beginning. It's like the first steps, and this month as you move into it, they face some issues. You face some issues. It's not as smooth. Maybe there are some hidden factors that come through, and things like that. The snake with the tree and letter, which T crosses the bottom row, is very much about being careful and calculating and potentially roundabout, but I'm not saying in a dishonest way. I'm saying like in a more patient way, where things are, they're not straightforward, and it's sort of, it's sort of winding, and it takes a bit of time. So this could be part of the frustrations. I'm not so sure this is in your hands to do anything about Cancer, so you're just going to need to be patient. I also want to suggest that with your communications and interactions, as you pursue your objectives here and this new beginning, it's important to be really well balanced and calm, because it sounds like it's not straightforward and it's a bit sensitive. So take it easy. And like we said, it sounds like this entity or the person at the top or whoever is represented by the Tower, that would be typically someone, like an official or, something a bit more formal. Well, these folks, they could be facing some troubles, or they're making things a bit difficult, and maybe it's messy and it's not, it takes a bit of ironing out. So overall, Cancer, I can see why you could be feeling a bit frustrated. You want to move forward. There's an opportunity that opens up, but some things start to come up this month. A few different things are possible. It's slow. It's not straightforward. It's not what you thought it would be. So there's a few different things that are possible here, or maybe all of them. But again, the Astro Clock cards are really clear in telling us that these issues, don't let these issues discourage you, and maintain that optimistic attitude and work through the issues this month. Now, I think it's more about your projects, finances, and things like that. I'm not really seeing relationship cards beyond the basic communication and exchanges here. I'm not really seeing, a one-on-one connection. So work on this, Cancer. Relax, chill, and these issues, put them in the right context, and be patient with the process as it unfolds and these first steps as you take them. Let me know what you made of this, Cancer. I'd be very interested to know how you resonated with these cards. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Leo, let's get into your April forecast. We have your 3 cards from the Astro Clock for the month of April. And we have the Child in the middle, which points to a new beginning. And the Bird and Anchor points to an agreement to move forward. So it can be a new chapter or a new phase of a project, or it doesn't have to be big. It can be, but with the Bird and Anchor, it's clear that there is some kind of conversation or negotiation, and the Anchor is very much about an agreement. These cards are also an encouragement for you to step into this new beginning. Maybe the Bird can suggest a bit of nervousness here, so maybe you were thinking about this or you're hesitating about it, but the Anchor is very much a card of certainty, so it does encourage you to step into this. Of course, we're going to draw your portrait cards and see if they align with this, and what they tell us about this new beginning, as well as if there are other messages for your month. Okay, Leo, here is your portrait, and as you can see, we've got the Child in the middle of the portrait, which is very much aligned with the Astro Clock cards. And we have other similar cards like the Letter, which is a card of news. It aligns with the Bird. The Book can also be about that. The added element that comes through very clearly from your portrait is the relationship aspect. We have both the man and the woman. We have the Garden, which is a card of people and places, but with these two, it's probably a bit more personal, and it suggests a meeting. And we have offer cards. So we have the Moon with the Book, and the Letter as well. So it looks like there is an invitation here to go for this new beginning. And I have to say, because of the relationship cards and the Heart and Moon, it can be a date. It can be meeting someone for the first time or getting to know someone. So it could be very exciting in terms of the relationship front and also in other areas. So the Letter with the Child and Garden, is obviously an invitation into a new place or a new meeting, and the man and woman on either side of the child points to a new relationship. These are very clear cards that point to meeting someone new, getting to know them, and hopefully that's the case for you and it's exciting for you, Leo. I guess in some specific cases it could be a renewal in a relationship, but without the flowers and just the child, it typically points to someone new. Now the letter and scythe and woman, it can be a separation. You know, the scythe can be a separation. So maybe it's tying into this new beginning where one person makes a change or leaves another relationship and it leads into a new beginning. The scythe T crosses the middle column, and we have the child and moon, which is very much a new phase and a new chapter. But the letter and scythe can also point to news that comes suddenly and unexpectedly, and again it ties into this new opportunity. So there's a couple of possibilities with the letter and scythe. I think the second one is more likely in view of the context. Now the letter, the heart with the child and book is very much a new chapter and a happy new chapter, and also probably a new love or a new interest at this stage. And you know, this is why I feel it's more personal, although at the end we'll suggest some other context as well. We've got the man with the moon and garden. You could be invited to meet with this person, and it ties into the woman with the book and garden. So meeting this person, and you don't know each other or you don't know this place, and so it's all of these lines are coming together. The letter with the heart and man can be a communication of interest, so there are some kind and loving exchanges that are possible here, and you know, it leads into getting to know each other. And the scythe with the child and moon, we read this as a T crosses the top row. There is a new invitation, a new offer, and I think also a new attraction, because the moon can also be about chemistry and attraction. So really nice cards. The woman with the book and garden, like I said, it can be a place unknown, but I think the more likely is that it's a person unknown because of the child being this new relationship. So really, Leo, the cards are kind of really straightforward, and they're all tying into the same thing, and it's pointing to a new relationship. It can be a date, you know, maybe a new social environment where you meet this person, and it sounds like there's been some communications and invitations that lead to this get together. So really nice cards, and very much in alignment with the Astro Clock cards, where we saw a bit of nervousness here with the new beginning, but the anchor, again, very encouraging for you to get to know this person and at least meet with them and see see what it's like. And I also want to add, Leo, that the man and woman can be any two people. They're flexible, so it depends on your specific situation. Like I said, I think it's more personal. It sounds more on the feeling side of things. But in case this is about something else like work or other opportunities, it's still a really nice portrait where it looks like you can meet someone and explore this opportunity and maybe collaborate or work together. It could be a job interview that probably goes well. It could be a new job altogether, a new collaboration, and of course a new relationship. There is an element of creativity, Leo, through the book and moon and the garden, so it can be an opportunity to put your stuff out there, and possibly this person helps as well. So very exciting cards for a new beginning. If you're anxious or nervous, I would say get over that, and I think you will pretty quickly. And it looks like the opportunity is now to either meet this person or to collaborate with someone for your projects or something else in your life. Pretty exciting for a new beginning, and very clear about the new beginning in the context of this relationship. So I hope you resonate with this. I hope this opens up a new connection that proves wonderful for you, Leo. Let me know how it went. Let me know what this new chapter was about. I look forward to your thoughts as always. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Virgo, let's get into your April forecast. I have your 3 cards from the Astro Clock for April, and they are a little bit challenging because of the clouds, and the mountain can add to the challenge. We see them with the woman, who represents a person, and she could be just about anyone, but usually the man and woman cards represent people who are pretty significant to us. Now, the mountain and clouds can suggest a blockage or someone who is difficult to come through, someone who it's not easy to communicate with this person. She could also be having problems, and the mountain can sometimes represent a place abroad. So perhaps there is an element of distance that makes things a bit complicated to get in touch or communicate. There could also be issues between you and this person. So tensions, a bit of electricity and things like that are creating a bit of a barrier here. So let's put these cards aside. They're kind of general. This woman can be in any context, and the issues could be in any context. So we're going to draw the portrait cards to get more details about these cards, and also to get more messages for your month as a whole. Okay, Virgo, here is your portrait, and we have the Whip, which is a challenging card. In fact, it's more challenging than these 2 cards. But the rest of the portrait is very bright. That's 1. And 2, the Whip is your cover card, which is more of advice to you and your position relative to the situation and the energy you bring to the table. So the Whip as your cover card can suggest that you need to be more confrontational about a situation. In this reading, the situation is the person. We have the ring in the middle, we have the woman in the cards, in the Astro Clock card. So it's pretty clear to me that this relationship is in focus, and there is a problem that needs to be confronted. The thing about the mountain and clouds is that they're more stuck, whereas the Whip is more active. So you're able to break through the communication barrier or other barriers and confront the situation. With the ring and cross, I think the idea here is more about having to do this, even if it's difficult, but the anchor and key on either side of the ring are actually really positive, and they tell us that this relationship stays, it sticks, and there are resolutions. The key is a card of solutions and problem solving, because it's a card of intelligence and, unlocking doors. And the anchor with the ring is very much about staying. So it's not like the relationship falls apart or anything like that. There is an issue that needs to be dealt with, and dealing with it could be part of what makes everything better. So you might need to take a bit of a more a straightforward approach with this, but it's definitely for the benefit of everyone involved, Virgo. The Whip with the fish and key can point to financial problems or other problems. Generally, the fish is about money, so it can bring up work, career, and these areas around money. But it can be in a personal context as well. Maybe there's something material or tangible or practical that is the problem. Really nice to see the key on the other side of this, because again, it confirms solutions. And in case of financial losses and things like that, there can be, if not a recovery, at least an improvement and ways forward. The Sun with the ring and bear is very potent for a relationship. These are bigger cards. They highlight the importance of the relationship, and they certainly confirm that the relationship is on a better footing moving forward. The anchor with the fox and cross is a bit on the trickier side, not only because of the fox, but the fox in combination with the cross. I think the fox is going to ask you to be clever, and also to, especially with the anchor and cross and the bear nearby, I think you need to be on top of this, Virgo. So I think you need to be the boss, and also to put some things under control. The fox and cross can also suggest that you need to have a good strategy, and you need to prioritize, and maybe that's part of what needs to be clarified so that everyone is on the same page. But again, healthy boundaries, and having a good sense of priority. The Whip with the Sun and Anchor is another really bright combination, because of the order of the cards and the beautiful sun in here. Clearly suggests that this relationship is, the problem is resolved, and in terms of the relationship as a whole, it stays, it sticks. So the anchor, connects with this diagonal. The fish ring and fox is great for jobs. Both the fox and fish have that practical side. So together they really emphasize it. And the ring points to your routine or your commitments, and possibly also an involvement, like a job itself. The key with the bear and cross is very nice. The key and bear is quite a powerful moment, a moment of truth and also a moment of solutions. The cross again points to this idea of having to be responsible, having to bear the cross, and also to make some decisions in terms of priorities and things like that. So the fish and fox, they bring up this element of work, whereas the rest of the cards could just be read in terms of the relationship. But the fish and fox in terms of a relationship, I think, is about managing the person well. And I do think there seems to be a more material side to the relationship. I'm not sure this is necessarily a bad thing, not in this situation, but it's about having a good perspective on the relationship, why you're solving this problem, why you're confronting the issues so that you can move forward. So these are really good cards for the relationship. It pays to break through barriers, to bring things under control, and to clarify whatever needs to be clarified. And the relationship is saved, and in fact, it could actually move forward on a better footing. The cards are also really good for work, money, and business. I have to say that with the bear and key, you could either have the support of someone like a boss or someone in authority, but you could also get a promotion, because we have all of these nice cards, and you also do well generally when it comes to work and your commitments and your finances. It sounds like you have to fight. So this could be a competitive situation where you need to really, come into control and to confront whatever needs to be confronted. And it sounds like you could come out on top. So these are really nice cards. Now, in terms of this scenario with the Astro Clock cards, perhaps this woman represents, the competition or what needs to be confronted in order to come through. But you're definitely on top of this, Virgo, and the whip really asks you to crack the whip and to, address this with more energy and in a more direct way. So quite a powerful set of cards. There's a lot of courage and gut that you put in, and it looks like it pays off. Great for relationships, great for work, success, overcoming challenges, really empowering set of cards. Let me know what you make of these ideas, Virgo. I certainly look forward to your thoughts and how you resonated with these ideas. So leave me a comment or two if you're willing to share. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, very best of luck with the month. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Libra, let's get into your April forecast. I have your 3 cards from your Astro Clock for April, and we have the mouse in the middle, which is a bit challenging. We have the woman and house, and both of these cards can represent people, especially the woman. And so the mouse brings up issues with people. Normally, it is things like lack of trust or doubts. It could also be an annoying person, a bit of an energy vampire kind of vibe. There can also be issues that are happening that are not necessarily between you and the person and in a personal way, but that's not usually the case. So it sounds like there's a bit of an issue with this person. And what the house represents, normally it's home, family, your closer circle of people and friends, but it can also represent other spaces like your team on the job, or maybe a gym you go to, or some kind of space that you're involved with. So let's put these cards aside and let's see what else we get about them, who this woman is, if we could get a more specific hint, and other messages for your month. Okay, Libra, here is your portrait, and I think it's pretty much aligned with the Astro Clock cards, and in fact they are a bit stronger because we have the snake and scythe, and the scythe between the bird and heart. So this could be a bit of a fallout of sorts. We also have it with the road. We have the dog, which is a person card. Normally it represents a friend or a colleague or someone like that. So we've got the Child as your cover card, and this points to a new beginning with the Road and Bird. You could be moving, going somewhere. You could also be moving away from a person, like not a physical change. But it seems to me that you're up for a new beginning and you're up for a new chapter. Now, the Snake and Heart, they bring up the negativity a bit more clearly than the first line. And the Snake is very much a turning away card. So it can be a disappointment, especially with the Road, where you just want to let go and move on. And with the Heart, I really think here there's a change of heart. So I think there's a disappointment here, and just a general annoyance and wanting to move away from the situation that is represented here. And again, it could be any space depending on you, Libra. The Child with the Ship and Heart is very much wanting to go in a new direction, a direction that makes you happy. You could also be traveling, so this could be something that you're looking forward to. And honestly, Libra, it sounds like it's a good time to get away. Now, if you can't completely part from this space, from this situation, you at least take a vacation or take a break. The Dog with the Road and Scythe is very much a change of direction, and it sounds like it's a change of direction away from this person. It can mean that this person leaves. Maybe it's not personal, it's not an issue between you and the person, and just circumstances are causing you and this person to have to go separate ways. But I think that's less likely, especially with the Snake, but it might apply for some of you Libras out there. The Snake with the Fish and Bird can bring up issues with money, because the fish is the card of money, finances, work, business. And maybe that's part of the reason you want to move away, is that there's the more material element that is not okay. So I'm thinking, for example, in terms of what could happen in real life, it could be someone who drains your energy, who takes things, doesn't return them. People who just, they just take like that. So that's possible. And the cards can also be focused on work and money, and maybe you're looking for a change that gives you more freedom with finances, that gives you better income, better opportunities. So that's possible. I also want to suggest, Libra, that don't discuss your financial plans or other strategies like that. You need to be careful about that. I would also say avoid lending, borrowing, and doing these transactions that are maybe not ideal at this time. Now, the Child with the Dog and Snake, this is clear. You want to move away from this person. And the snake being next to the dog, a bit like the mouse next to the woman, really suggests that this person, the issues with them, like it's not between you and them. You're not really happy with something in the relationship. The Ship with the Road and Fish is great for changes and travels, and they could be related to your financial plans or your work and business plans. But also it could cost you a bit if you're taking a physical trip like that. In another sense, like not physical travel, in a more metaphorical sense, Libra, this is a good combination for pursuing different goals, for making changes to your path in order to put yourself on a more secure direction. The Heart, Scythe, and Bird is pretty clear. There is a heartache, a heartbreak, there is a difficult situation, and the Scythe and Bird can mean that you become vocal about it, and it could announce the separation. So it's pretty clear what's going on here, Libra. You're moving, you're leaving, you're making a change. It's very clear also that it seems to be connected with a person and issues between you and this person. And it could also be connected with other ambitions and projects that you want. So it could be, a situation that straddles two different areas, like personal and work-related, or it could just be work-related. And of course, it could be something else, depending on your specific situation, Libra. But I think the dynamic is pretty clear. Someone is getting annoying and draining. The situation is annoying and draining, and you're ready to move in different directions and to let go of this, this challenge, this heartache. At the same time, you need to take a stand and be vocal about the changes that you're making. I suspect also, Libra, that maybe timing is going to be important. So having a strategy, and again, with the snake, and the snake being very clever with money and being well balanced about who you share your stuff with. It's a good idea, Libra, to have a plan and to have at least some kind of a strategy as you make this change. Let me know what you make of these ideas. Let me know what the challenge was. I'd be really interested to know who this person was and what the issue is, if you're willing to share, and also how you're going to make this change and what new direction you're moving into. That also be exciting to learn about. So very best of luck with this, Libra. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you as always for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Scorpio, let's get into your April forecast. We have here your 3 cards from the Astro Clock for April, and they're pretty bright because the sun is a very bright card. We have the House and Fox as well, and the Fox is sometimes deceptive. It can represent someone who's a bit selfish, and it can be a warning sign against someone who's trying to trick you or trying to get their way with you. And with the House, which is usually home and family, or your private space, it can be though in a different context. It could be work, it could be home, family, or some other space that you're involved with. But again, the sun is quite bright, so it shines its light on this. And so the cards can go in 2 different ways. The Fox can, being a bit of a deceptive card, the sun would then suggest that you shine a light on this and you're able to see through the person. But it can also mean that you're quite clever and you know how to navigate a certain environment. And the Fox can also be a card of jobs. It tends to be associated with employment and that kind of stability and routine. And so with the Sun and House, it looks like you are disciplined and you're getting things done and you're doing well at work, and you also know how to manage people in there. So really the Sun brings up bright messages, regardless of the Fox, I think, because it's more powerfully positive than the Fox is negative. But let's draw your portrait cards and let's see what else we get about them, about these Astro Clock cards, and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Scorpio, here is your portrait, and as you can see, there's quite a lot going on in here. We have the ring in the middle, which is a card of relationships or commitments, but we also have it with the scythe, which is a very precise combination for a divorce and a separation. We also have the dog with the ring, so this highlights the relationship aspect, and we have the house, which we have in both sets. At the same time, we have the beautiful star, which is your cover card, so it works really nicely with the sun. And this is a healing card and a wish fulfillment card, and it's about all around happiness. So it sounds like you're pretty happy about these changes, Scorpio, and maybe you are the one who wants to break away from this environment and go off into something new. So let's read all of these lines and put the whole thing together. The star, ring, and ship is great for a venture, an adventure, a project, a certain direction. And it seems to me that you're committing to something new. We have it with the child, because we also have in the other diagonal this very clear message of a separation. We have it with the relationship card, the dog, and so you could be breaking away from someone, breaking off, breaking up. Or it could be an involvement where you have a collaborator or colleagues, or partners in this. But it sounds like you're getting out of it because you want something new. The star with the mouse and dog highlights the little issues with this person. It's a bit like the fox. I think you're shining a light on this. I think you see through the whole situation. And I also think you're seeing past it. So you want to overcome this, and you're sort of tired of this, and you want to, your ambitions are elsewhere. The house, ring, and child is a very clear message for a new job, a new involvement, a new connection, whatever the context is specifically for you. But this is probably the reason why you're making a change, is because you've got a new commitment. And this could actually align really well with the Astro Clock cards. They could tell you there's a new project or a new job, and that's what you're moving towards. The scythe with the book and ship can be sudden news or a sudden opportunity to move in this direction. And you could also make the announcement a bit abruptly. Scorpio, that's also what could come through the scythe. The star with the house and scythe is a breakthrough. So this is not so much a break off, but it's more of a breakthrough with something as beautiful as this star, and you have access into this new situation, new involvement, or even a new relationship. The mouse with the ring and book, this is an interesting line. The ring and book is often a contract or an agreement or a proposal, and the mouse suggests that it's not so great, but because we have the sun and star, you know, it's probably a good opportunity for you. So the mouse is not so much of an annoying card or a not so good card, but instead it can point to the slowness or some hurdles that you go through before you're able to break into this opportunity. And the dog with the child and ship points to a new relationship, maybe a new customer, a new colleague, a new partner, a new collaboration. That we are seeing clearly in the cards. So this is a month for changes, Scorpio, and I think it's pretty clear. You got an opportunity. It's probably something that you really want. Beautiful sun and star. And you're able to make changes. You're able to let go of your current scenario and move on in this new direction. There can be a bit of a swift energy. Things can happen quickly. Maybe you're not fully prepared and you need to, you know, catch up and make the change. These are all possible, but I really don't think that they deter you from making the change. Now, in terms of a personal reading, as in a personal relationship, the cards can be a bit more difficult, you know, maybe with the mouse. Typically, you know, they are, but not necessarily. This would definitely point to leaving someone, really. It could be a love relationship or a friendship or anything, but the cards of separation are very clear, and the cards of the new beginning are also very clear. So you could be leaving someone for someone else. You could be just letting go of a toxic relationship or a difficult one, and just, you know, connecting with different people. So the changes are really clear in the cards, and it sounds like they are aligned with your hopes, with your desires, and I think it makes you happy, and I think you're excited. And if there are little issues that come your way, Scorpio, that's fine. I think you're going to be dealing with them all right. Try to do some research, try to strategize, you know, try to prep for this in whatever way is applicable to you, but certainly it's time for the changes. So let me know what you make of this, Scorpio. This is quite a reading. I look forward to learning from you in what context this figured. I'm also curious about who the dog might be, if it was a relationship. I'd be interested to know if you're willing to share. So very best of luck with this, Scorpio. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Sagittarius, let's get into your April forecast. I have your 3 cards for April from your 2025 Astro Clock. And obviously, Sagittarius, these are some really pretty cards. We've got the sun and flowers, and they are 2 of the brightest cards. They bring wish fulfillment, healing, happiness, celebration. All sorts of good things are possible with these 2 cards. And the road earlier can suggest a few things. Either you have an opportunity that opens up, or you go to interesting places and you're having fun with that. It could be about adventure, exploring, even travel. And it is also possible that you return to something or someone returns. And that's because the flowers is often a card of renewal and things coming back. So when we see it with the road, which is about going and coming, it is possibly about someone or something returning. So these are really bright cards, and they can apply in all sorts of contexts. We're going to put them aside and draw your portrait cards with Titania's deck and see what else we get about them. Okay, Sagittarius, here is your portrait, and it has also a whole lot of lovely combinations and cards. We have the beautiful key in the middle and also the star. So very bright cards that bring all around success. Specifically, the key is about solutions, but we also see it in a few other combinations that bring this opening and this opportunity that we suggested in the Astro Clock cards. We also have the ship and rider, and these are similar to the road. They bring a sense of travel and movement. So there's quite a lot of resonance between the 2 sets of cards. Now we have the snake, which is quite an interesting card. It is typically a deception card, a card of cheating and dishonesty. So it has quite a toxic side. But on the flip side, it does have a clever aspect as well. because it is very clever. It knows what it wants and it knows how to get it. Now, I'm also suspecting that there is a bit of a winding path as we have both the road and snake. They're a bit far from each other, but you know, they can suggest this element of a bit of a roundabout way to move forward. And certainly with the book, it can be about that. What's also interesting is that the book and snake are both cards of secrecy and inner knowledge, if you like. And with the key, it sounds like you discover something, but I don't think you need to share it at this point, Sagittarius. And also, you have opportunities and you are working on making these changes or taking advantage of this opportunity, and possibly or likely moving forward, you sort of keep it under your hat a little bit. I also want to suggest, Sagittarius, that it's a good idea to do that. So the cards also offer guidance. The ship with the key and lily is great for your work, for your career, for all sorts of projects and hitting milestones in your life. There is an opportunity clearly here that you can take advantage of, and travel might also be on the table for you. The book with the star and lily is also adding to this, because we have the lily in both, and the key and star are both positive cards. So again, you're in for an exciting chapter. The book can again mean that some things are unknown, or perhaps you're keeping some things to yourself. I can also add, Sagittarius, that if you teach, learn, or are doing some kind of research or possibly creative projects, they're also really well starred. The scythe, key, and tree is a very exciting combination, because the key and tree is one of those special pairs that point to achieving some pretty important goals. We also have the star and sun in the cards, which are kind of bigger, overarching cards. So this could be a big deal for you, Sagittarius. And the scythe and key is very much a breakthrough. So again, I think you have an opportunity, or you achieve an important goal, and it sets you on a new path. The ship, rider, and snake is very much about changes and taking action and moving. And like we said, the snake can be a bit roundabout, so maybe it's not the most direct path forward, but it's still action oriented, and you're definitely doing this. And it can also mean that you are discreet about what you're doing, Sagittarius. So again, we're seeing suggestions to keep it under your hat. The book, scythe, and ship is similar to what we see in the middle row. There's a scythe in common. There's a breakthrough, or an opening, or something is revealed. And with the ship, there is a path that opens up for you. So again, these cards are, you know, coming together, and they sort of repeat each other. There can be a change of direction as well, which I think aligns with everything we said. The star, key, and rider is definitely the right path opening up for you, something that you want materializes, so go after this, Sagittarius. And the lily, tree, and snake is very much about growth and pursuing something over the longer term. So there's exciting changes here. I think the decision and the opportunity, they could come swiftly, but then moving forward, the pace is a bit slower, Sagittarius, and it's about putting yourself on this longer term path of stability and wisdom and learning. The snake and tree is about a slower approach, as is the lily and tree. So they're kind of all slower cards here. But again, we're seeing this element of discretion, of wisdom. So it sounds like you're really happy with what you're doing, Sagittarius. You're like in a nice, quiet space after you've made these changes and you've embraced this opportunity. It can be mostly about work or your creative projects, because I'm not really seeing people cards in here. The rider potentially, but I think this is more about you and your direction, and what you're doing moving forward, the opportunities that you want to take advantage of, the changes that you want to make. So focus on this, Sagittarius. Make the changes, make the decision, and then move forward. And also enjoy this process, because it sounds like it's aligned with your hopes and your goals, and it puts you on a more secure kind of path moving forward. Let me know what you make of this, Sagittarius. These are really pretty cards. As always, I look forward to your thoughts, your feedback, how you resonated with them, if you're willing to leave me a comment. Thank you very much for tuning in. Very best of luck with the month. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Capricorn, let's get into your monthly forecast for April. We have your April cards from your 2025 Astro Clock, the Fox, Heart, and Key. These are really lovely cards. Normally, the Fox and Heart would suggest someone or something that is half-hearted. Maybe you're not really interested in something, but the Key adds a different dimension to this because it is a card of success and unlocking opportunities. So instead of this suggesting something or someone half-hearted, I think it's more about someone who is going after what they want in a clever way, and that's possibly you, or very likely you, Capricorn. This fox can also represent an agent or someone who does you some kind of service. You know, they can be people like accountants, lawyers, and so on. And so maybe this person comes through with good news and feeds back with a positive answer, and so there can be an opportunity and achieving something that you want. And also, Capricorn, the fox is often a card of jobs and work and employment, and so it's very good with routine and discipline. So you could achieve goals through this kind of discipline, and also you could get a job that you want or a project that you're after. So really, I think these are bright cards. They call for caution and being clever, but I still think you're on the right track to achieving what you want. So let's go ahead and deal out your portrait and see what else we get about these cards and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Capricorn, here is your portrait, and we are seeing some pretty nice cards as well. We have the beautiful star with the moon, with the bear and fish. These are great for money, and in fact, the fish is the money card, and we see it as your cover card. So it can indeed be connected to your work, your career, your projects, or just plain financial matters. Here we have some challenging cards potentially. And the reason I say that is because they point to an ending, and an ending is not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe it is something relieving. You're moving on from a difficult situation or a waiting time, and things move forward, as we see in the left column. Sorry, the right-hand side column. So the fish, scythe, and garden. This could be moving away from an environment. Again, you could be moving away from a job or just releasing yourself from a certain situation. And we see this as well in the second column. We have the coffin and scythe, and I have to say, Capricorn, this combination is pretty final for endings. It's pretty final. What's nice is that we have the star at the end of the line, which points to healing. So again, this is more about relief and letting go of a certain environment, a certain space that makes you happy, as opposed to it being an ending that is difficult and things like that. The fish, bear, and star is lovely for money. In fact, this could be a combination for outright wealth. So you could be making more money, get a raise, get a bonus, positive things materializing for your money and your finances. And the same applies for work, business, and your career in general, because the fish is about money mainly, but also it can be stretched into all the areas that have to do with your practical life. The bear is a card of empowerment, and it makes everything big, and the star is about wish fulfillment. So some really good things could be happening for you on this front. Now, the heart with the scythe and moon can be a bit challenging because we've got the heart and scythe together. So this is a bit of a heartbreak. So there can be some difficult things that you're going through as well this month, Capricorn. But I have to say that the moon is a gentle card, and it softens the edge of the scythe. And so possibly things are not a huge deal. I think part of the changes that you're making, this ending, you know, there can come a bit of nostalgia, or, you know, some things that are pending or a bit painful in terms of the change. But you've got to pursue this, you know, beautiful, empowering change that is ahead. The coffin with the book and garden, I really think also here we're closing off a chapter. So you could be moving from a place, and we see this several times because of the central position of the scythe and the different combinations it's in. So the scythe and coffin, the scythe and garden, and the heart and scythe. So a clear message of letting go and closing off a chapter within a certain situation. You could be moving jobs, right? So we saw in your Astro Clock cards that you have a breakthrough here, you have positive feedback, and it can be about a job, and so you're leaving a present one. You could also be moving projects within the same situation. You know, all sorts of scenarios are possible depending on your specifics. Now, the fish with the heart and coffin can mean that you had been waiting for funds, or that you are happily ending a situation. There can be, again, a bit of nostalgia because of the heart, but it's another message of a transition and a change. The bear with the scythe and book can be a powerful revelation coming through the scythe and book, maybe through someone important who supports you with your finances. And again, it ties into the bottom row, which brings this ending. The star with the moon and garden is lovely for an honor, an offer, and some good times within a space, with people in a community. So we do see clearly, Capricorn, that you are making changes, and this could be an important transition. There is a strong financial element, so you're moving away from the old or a certain space and embracing another one. So there are moves, changes, endings, and I think they all come through the opportunity that is in the cards for you this month. It's great for finances, it's great for work and jobs. It's also great for getting support of people, possibly even powerful people who enable you to make this change. So this is quite a month for breakthroughs. And also keep in mind, Capricorn, that we have the scythe right in the middle of your portrait. And this is a card of release, and it has a swift energy and a sharp energy. So these can be big changes, big changes. So I hope this opportunity is going to come your way this month. Certainly let me know, Capricorn, what it was for you specifically. What were the changes that you were able to make? And hopefully there was a strong prosperity element at play that is part of the change that you're able to embrace. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. So very best of luck with this, Capricorn. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Aquarius, welcome to your April forecast. Let's look at these cards for April that we got in your astro clock. We have the stork, the heart, and the mouse. And the mouse is a bit challenging because it brings disappointments and annoyances, losses and waste, and things that sort of dwindle away and that eat away a little bit at your energy. So when we see it with the heart, there can be some heartache here or some disappointments. And the thing about the stork earlier is that something happens to cause that, because the stork is often associated with an event or something that is like it has a demarc in time. So something can happen that disappoints you, and you might have to deal with it in this sense, Aquarius. Now, this is kind of broad, and this can happen in any number of areas. So let's put these aside and see what else we get about these cards and what other messages we get for your month of April. Okay, Aquarius, here is your portrait, and actually these are really bright cards in contrast with your astro clock cards. So I'm pretty convinced and confident that whatever issue is represented by the mouse, I think you're definitely going to get over it, and pretty quickly. Now, what's interesting is that we have the child in the middle, and the child is a card of new beginnings. And so the stork earlier can point to the changes. It's a change card. It has to do with movement and relief and, such changes. So the child works well with this. We have the sun, which is beautiful, the flowers and tree, also beautiful. And we have the dog, which is often a relationship like a friend, a colleague, a sibling, or usually anyone in your peer group. Now, the lily at the top focuses you on your life path and your career. It can also focus you on your lifestyle and where you live or how you live, sort of thing. Now, with the child and dog, you could be in for a new relationship and possibly in a professional environment, but not necessarily. The flowers with the child and mountain can be a return to a location, but I think because of the child and mountain, which usually suggests an important chapter that is opening up for you, Aquarius, it could be a happy moment for you where you are enjoying a new start and you're excited about it. The flowers is also good for creativity, and I think with the child and stork and sun and tree, I think you have an opportunity to expand on your projects, on your creativity, on what you put out there. So that's quite exciting. The lily with the sun and mountain can be a vacation, Aquarius, because the sun and mountain usually represents a place that is sunny. And the lily is lovely for a career and your life path, like I said. So you could be taking a break and enjoying success and possibly even exploring places in another location. The Tower with the Child and Tree is definitely a new invitation, a new offer. And the Tower is often a card of official things and people in authority or something legal or administrative. So maybe you're pursuing some documentation, you're going after a process or a procedure that you need to go for and things like that. And I think it's going to come through rather well. You could also be applying for a new venture, which would work with everything else that we saw. You could also get a new job, a new opportunity. Lots of possibility with the Tower and Child and the Letter and Child. So I think paperwork comes through and you could be applying for a new path, a new involvement. I can also add, Aquarius, that there is a fresh start because the Tower is often a card of the past. And with the Flowers and Child and the Sun, there is an element of forgiveness, which I have to say works well with the Stork Mouse and the Heart in between. So I think any of the issues, and again, Aquarius, these are not big issues with the Mouse. You could overcome them and turn the page into a fresh start, and it could feel really relieving and I think really freeing to pursue exciting things moving forward. The Flowers, Tree and Dog is lovely for connections, for building relationships. It looks like they are blooming and bearing fruit, and it could also be having good times with others. The tree is quiet and calm, and so are the Lily and Tower. So I think this is a great time for relaxing into this new start and really enjoying what you've built so far. The Lily with the Tower and Flowers is another suggestion for a renewal. You could be regaining energy, feeling enthusiastic again, and feeling that you have momentum again. And also something that you had been working on for some time pays off. This is also great for long-term investments, long-term strategies, pensions, retirement. Other longer range goals are bearing fruit, and also we have a suggestion that you're on the right track. So really nice cards. So I would say so far, Aquarius, any issues, any disappointments, overcome them quickly and turn the page, because what's ahead is really exciting. The Sun with the Child and Tree is beautiful for anything blooming, for these new seeds that can grow into success. These are great cards also with children and kids and younger folks in your life, and for your projects and these new beginnings. There's a lot of success cards in here. The Mountain with the Letter and Dog is, I think, tying into the letter, because in all cases they T-cross at the letter. So there is a new start, a new opportunity. And with the dog, it is involving maybe a new person or a new collaboration. It could be a friendship, all sorts of possibilities. Now, I did suggest that the Lily and Tower can bring up your work, your career, and more formal, official kind of matters in your life. But also, Aquarius, these cards are great for any context. They focus on a new beginning, new opportunities, possibly travel to places, new connections, and turning the page in any of these areas into a fresh start. There's also success, long-term success, efforts paying off. So really, all of the, the cards are bright across all the contexts. So really nice cards, Aquarius. I would encourage you not to be negative, not to dwell in negativity, and to be optimistic. Keep your focus on the long term, focus on creativity and how you can expand, and also be there for others and be willing to explore. So beautiful energies this month. I hope you resonate with these ideas, Aquarius. Let me know how you did. I think there's a lot that could happen, so I'd be interested to know what specifically you felt resonated with these cards, if you're willing to share. So thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with this lovely month, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Pisces, welcome to your April forecast. Let's get into your cards. We have the 3 cards from your astro clock for the month of April, and they're quite interesting and unique. We have the Coffin and Anchor, which points to a definite ending. And it comes with the Man, which represents someone. So a relationship comes to an ending. I don't know if this is positive or challenging for you. We have to draw more cards because they can apply in so many different contexts. I can also suggest that maybe waiting on someone is possible, although usually when I see the Coffin and Anchor, I tend to think of something that is more certainly ending. and it seems to be this relationship. So are you letting go of someone, or is someone letting go of you, or is someone leaving? Let's see with your portrait cards what else we get about them and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Pisces, here is a rather interesting portrait, and I have to say the whole set of cards, astro clock and portrait, are just unusual. Now, what's really nice is obviously the beautiful clover in the middle of your portrait. So this is going to bring quite a bit of luck. But I have to say that the clover can be unpredictable, and so it might not materialize in a way that you anticipate. And given these challenging cards here and the ending here, I would say it's not a scenario we can imagine so much, Pisces, which is probably why these cards are helpful to start with. So let's weave these lines and see what we come up with. So the mountain at the top. The mountain, as your cover card, is often a card of distance and being away. It's also a card of solitude. So it's likely, Pisces, that you had been away, and probably for a good reason because of the clover and cross. It's like you had to bide your time or do things, and you needed this time apart. And this idea works well with the coffin and anchor, because the coffin is a card of ending and absence as well. Now, the mountain is also a card of locations in terms of being abroad or away or possibly online. And we have the garden in the cards as well. So we could be looking at a location. Now, with the clover and cross, you could be in a place that is meant to be. And you could get a lucky encounter or a lucky thing, sign coming up that contributes to what's ahead. And this idea of taking time off or time apart is also a good thing because of the clover and cross. So like we said, you were busy, you had to get things done, you had to maybe gather yourself. The mouse with the clover and garden is a lucky chance encounter. With the mouse, maybe it takes a bit of time, or you're not so sure about this location initially, but if you give it a chance, you could come out with something interesting. And I think we'll see this in the right-hand side column, where we have the garden, bear, and cross. This is usually an influential kind of person. It can be a group of people that involves people in authority, of influence, and such folks. And with the cross, you could get a lucky encounter with someone, or you could have an important meeting, or you can take some big steps in a certain environment. So I do think there's a step up. And I do think there's a moment of empowerment here, that if you take a chance on this environment, on this place, which is possibly in a different location, then you might come out with some interesting meetings and some interesting takeaways. Now, how does this tie into the man in the astro clock cards? Well, it's possible that they are somewhere in this situation. He's in this location and you might get together with him or meet him. The mountain with the fox and garden, this could be a job. This could be a job online or in another location or someplace. It can also ask you to be cautious about certain types, certain people, as you're getting to know this environment. Remember, your mouse, not everything is transparent or what it seems to be. So just be aware of that. Now, the heart with the clover and bear is a very beautiful line, and it is the most beautiful line in your portrait. And I do think you have an opportunity for an important step up, empowerment, maybe promotions, and all sorts of improvements. And also it could be this person that you meet, or the support that you get from this environment. So a really nice message here. I have to also suggest, Pisces, that it can be about feelings and love, or possibly attraction, because we have the heart and clover together. They have a bit of a more feeling side. So that too is possible. And maybe you're waiting to meet this person. Maybe you want to get to know someone, and now there's an opportunity. Now, the mouse with the whip and cross is the more challenging line in your cards, and this can point to a loss or a change, and the idea of having to let go of someone or something. And I think this works with the coffin and anchor. So I feel that you don't have much control on things this month, Pisces, in relation to this environment, to this person, and other people maybe. So it's a little bit out of your hand, and the clover supports this because it is a card of chance and luck. So you have to sort of wait and see what happens. And I think in the meantime, you can do your part to maybe get involved, do your work, keep doing what you're doing, and see if you can get to know some people. The mountain with the heart and mouse can point to a heartache, maybe from a place, another place. And this is possibly what you're trying to overcome. The fox with the clover and whip is a blessing in disguise. And also it can help you overcome challenges by being more upfront about certain things. The fox is also a card of job. So maybe you're letting go of a job and making changes like that. Or maybe you are let go, or other people are. So there are like restructurings and changes that are out of your hand, Pisces. But I think thanks to the clover in the middle, you could be in either a good position, a new one, or you could be protected and safe. Like we said, the garden with the bear and cross is an important meeting, important people. I think you have to do your part, Pisces, to get involved. But I think it calls for caution all throughout, because there are hidden elements, unpredictable elements. You're not sure what you're going to get out of it. So it's like taking a chance on people and places, taking a chance with certain steps forward, possibly making mistakes, but also overcoming past limitations and past aches. So I have to say, this is a really interesting portrait. And without knowing a lot of your background, it can be a bit of a limited interpretation. I appreciate that. But again, I think there is an opportunity to meet with someone. It could be a reunion with someone after times of trouble or disagreements and things that had fallen through. And so there can be a chance encounter, and it could turn out pretty interesting for you. So what you can do, Pisces, to make yourself more likely to encounter this lucky situation, what you can do to line yourself up for this chance. It's not really chance if we plan for it, but I guess you can be more out there. You could be more involved with people. You could be willing to let go of what has gone wrong and to give things a new opportunity. And also you could make changes. So letting go of things that are not working anymore and placing yourself in an environment where you could attract potentially something empowering. And we see that you are very likely to do so. So a really interesting spread, Pisces. I am looking forward to your thoughts on this. Let me know what you made of these cards. Very unique, very unique. So I would like your input here, how you resonated with them, because it will help me with, these specific scenarios and just really interesting, the variety of experiences. So again, let me know what you make of this, Pisces. Thank you so much for tuning in, as always. Very best of luck with this really curious spread. And until next time, take very good care of yourself.